just to start here, you guys, it felt like you'd have a game, a bye week, a game, a bye week. Now you're going to begin this stretch where it's playing every week the rest of the way. Is that exciting or daunting with no rest coming down the road?
Yeah, I think it's exciting, right? I think it's a chance where you can gain some momentum as a team, right? I think with the bye weeks, whether it's a win or loss, it's kind of fresh after a bye week. You're coming back basically off no game, obviously. So it's going to be good to get into a little routine. Hopefully, stack some wins together here, get us back in the playoff picture, and gain some momentum. I think, especially buys early in the season, they're tough because it's not like you're dealing with a ton of injuries right off the bat and stuff like that, or wear and tear. So towards the end of the season, they're kind of nice. Where this past week was nice just to get some guys recovered and stuff like that. But it is exciting to see the end of the schedule, how we can get some momentum going.
There's still a lot of time left in the season when you look at it in the grand picture, but at the same breath, with the way the skid's gone, do you almost feel like you have to play like a desperation game, like a playoff style game tonight to win?
Yeah, I mean, I think you look around the league and you see the standings, right? It's a lot of 3-win, 4-win, 5-win teams. I know it's still middle of the season, but I don't think that just goes for us, that it's a playoff game, right? I think you look around the league at all those teams and they're all thinking the same thing. I think you got to treat each game like a playoff game just to get into the playoffs, and now more than ever, every game matters, right? Because you don't want to dig yourself into an even bigger hole. So I know Vegas is probably thinking the same thing today in their locker room, but that's our mentality. Is it's a playoff game and we want to do everything we can to win.
From your perspective, what's going wrong in these last 5 games?
I think it's just some of those games where it's been a lot of 1-goal games, right? Or we're just a bounce here and there. I think offensively we really need to focus on limiting transition. I think we've been putting the defense in a tough spot in terms of that. So limiting the transition goals against is I know a key focus for us. But just also getting back to what's working. I think there's a lot of people would think, and looking at our team would think, what do they need to do to get better? I think the way we look at it is what have we been doing that's been working, and how can we build off that? So, I think that's what we're really focusing on is the little things that have been adding up for success for us. Keeping those in mind, focusing on those, but also just tweaking a couple of things here and there, whether it's, movement in the offensive end. That's obviously what I could speak for specifically, just getting guys moving, cutting more, in each other's field of view more. I think that's a huge thing. So just some small things like that could add up to some bigger success for us.
You guys haven't had Curtis Knight in the rotation so far this year. What does it mean to have him back in the rotation tonight?
Yeah, Knight, that's my roommate. He's I'm really excited for him. I think he's been we've been missing him a lot. He's a leader for us, right? He's the assistant captain. But not only that, he's a great player. So he's a guy who's a veteran on the bench who can, in those instances where we might be having a goal or two against, he's a guy to keep us level-headed, and focus on just getting that next one. And it goes for if we score 2 or 3 in a row, staying level-headed. So I think he's gonna be a huge addition for us. He's great at stopping transition. He's got a great shot. He can play with or without the ball. So I just think it makes our offense that much more dynamic, and I'm really excited to see how he does tonight.
Speaking of a dynamic part of your game is your ability to get loose balls and create second, third chance opportunities. You're now number 1 forward in terms of getting loose balls. Talk about that part of your game, because I think that gets overlooked because everybody looks at your ability to score, your ability to feed, but your ability to keep the possession alive, I think, is hugely important with those loose balls.
Yeah, I think for me, I pride myself on the little things, right, and those little things add up. I think it's a part of the game I really focus on is getting those extra possessions, and just doing whatever I could do to help the team win. I think, obviously the stuff you see is the shots, the goals, the assists, and stuff like that. But, I think as an offensive guy, it's a lot looked over. Like you said, you look at guys with ground balls, and the guys who usually lead the league are guys who are in on face-offs, face-off specialists who themselves. So I think, as an offensive guy, I just think of it as doing everything I can to give our team a second opportunity with the ball. So, I think that's been a huge focus of my game ever since I started, and I'm trying to develop that part of my game to get better and better at that as well.
You were a desert dog for a hot second. Can you, and now it's appropriate for us because it's the first time they're coming here to play. Can you walk us through that trade and that time of, obviously once you got exposed, you had to know that you were going to get drafted by Las Vegas. But from that point of getting drafted to the trade, can you kind of walk us through like what happened?
Yeah, it was, so from that point, there was a lot going on. Knew I was unprotected. Talked to Coach Williams. The first question he asked is would I be willing to play in Las Vegas? And at that point, not even a year and a half before that, I asked San Diego for a trade due to the fact that I couldn't play on the West Coast. So one, I thought that would be unfair to San Diego. But two, I really couldn't make it work getting on the West Coast. It would have been really tough for me and for my family. So, I'm very appreciative that he was supportive and understanding in that. And then the next question he had was, where could I play? And he said, there's been some interest, and he didn't really name any team names. And then from there, I got a call from Dan Carey, which is the best thing that happened to me, I feel like, because, from that first phone call, we hit it off right away. It wasn't like, we're taking you now. It was really a cordial conversation. He asked, would you want to play in Rochester? And I thought that was really, it said a lot to me, just the type of person he was and the type of organization this is, that they're not just going to go and grab a guy. They have to want to be here too. So I think, from there, I was really hoping the trade was going to go through. I wasn't sure. It was probably a couple days leading up to the draft, and I think the day before is when the trade went through, and then announced on the day. It was a lot of moving parts. I was praying. I talked to Dan Carey, I talked to Coach Hazen, everyone I love my conversations with, and for me as a player, I feel like it's what I needed, because I never really had that confidence in me from a team prior, whether that was San Diego or Buffalo. The staff there, I feel like, didn't really have that confidence in me, which led to me not having that confidence in myself. So just, Dan, Coach Hazen, having that confidence in me made me a much more confident player, and I think that led to some of my success.